Your paycheck clears on the 1st. By the 15th, something between a third and half of it is gone, and you're not entirely sure where. Not to bills, those you can account for, not to savings. You've checked to something else, something that doesn't show up neatly in any category of a budgeting app because it doesn't operate by category. It operates by timing. Pay attention to the timing. Marcus was 34, federal employee, 12 years in. His salary was solid, not extravagant, but enough that he should have been building something. Instead, he was breaking even every month, month after month, with slight variations in the wrong direction when something at work hit particularly hard. He tracked his expenses for 6 months before he noticed the pattern, not the categories, the timing. Every week that his manager dismissed something he'd built, the weekend spending spiked. Every week that someone less competent got recognition he'd earned, Friday night cost more than it should have. Every month end where he looked at what he'd done for the organization versus what the organization had done for him, and the math didn't balance. The compensation on his end showed up in purchases that didn't solve anything. He wasn't impulsive. He wasn't reckless. He was running a psychological mechanism that most people with stable salaries run without ever giving it a name. The mechanism is called compensatory spending, and it has nothing to do with lack of discipline. It has to do with what your brain does when the environment costs more than it pays. Not in dollars, but in autonomy, recognition, and the sense that what you do matters. When the environment creates that deficit, the brain finds the fastest available way to close the gap. For people with stable salaries and easy access to spending, the answer is almost always consume something. Not because the thing consumed fills the actual gap. It doesn't. But it occupies the space where the gap lives for long enough that the acute discomfort passes, until next week's deficit reopens it. Before we continue, I need to show you something I built after understanding exactly what we're talking about here. It's called the Free Your Mind Kit. 3 tools that work together. The ebook has 35 pages of real financial psychological diagnosis. It's not a savings tip. It's a map of the invisible patterns that trap men with stable salaries. The Cost of Stability Calculator is an interactive tool. You enter your numbers, and it shows you the real cost of not acting. In wealth, in time, in deferred freedom. And the Free Your Mind series is 3 audio tracks of 7 to 12 minutes, made to listen to when you wake up or before you sleep, working on identity, value, and action, where knowledge alone can't reach. The 3 complement each other. The ebook creates intellectual awareness. The calculator creates emotional awareness. The audios work on identity. It's not a course, no subscription, lifetime access. Everything for $9. The link is in the description. When you're ready, back to what we were saying, compensatory spending is not about what you buy. It's about why you buy when you buy it. The same purchase, dinner out, new headphones, a streaming subscription you'll barely use, can be a genuine choice in one week and a psychological mechanism in another. The difference isn't the amount. It's the function. Genuine choice. You wanted this, you evaluated it, you got it. Compensatory mechanism. Something at work drains something that doesn't show up on a pay stub. And this purchase is the fastest available replacement. The test is simple. Look at the purchases you didn't plan for last month. Now look at what happened the week before each one. Not on a macro level. What was going on with your team, your manager, your sense that what you do is valued. For most men with stable employment, there's a correlation. Not always one-to-one, but consistent enough to be a pattern, not noise. And patterns are useful because patterns can be changed, but not by cutting spending. That's the mistake almost everyone makes when they identify compensatory spending. They attack the symptom. They delete the app, freeze the card, create a budget, create discipline, and it works for a while. until a week that's heavy enough that the pressure needs somewhere to go and the card is right there and you've been disciplined long enough to have accumulated some guilt about it, which makes the next compensatory spend larger. You can't will your way out of a psychological mechanism. You can only understand it well enough to replace it with something that serves the actual underlying need. And the underlying need is not for the thing you bought. The underlying need is for autonomy, recognition, and a sense that your time and intelligence are being applied to something that matters. Those are real needs. They're not weakness, and they don't disappear when you restrict spending. They go looking for another outlet. Marcus understood this the hard way. 3 budgeting cycles, 3 collapses, each one longer than the last, each one ending in a purchase that undid 6 weeks of restriction. The 4th time, he didn't try to restrict. He tried to understand. He went back through 6 months of bank statements and mapped every unplanned purchase against what had happened at work the week before. He built a correlation matrix. He's an analyst by trade. This is how he processes things. What he found was uncomfortable in its clarity. 3 specific triggers, 3 specific spending patterns as response, and 0 variation. The mechanism was operating with the consistency of a formula. With that information, he didn't cut spending. He developed alternative responses to the triggers, not grand ones. Small, practical, real. Things he could actually do in the moment when the trigger fired, instead of what he'd been doing automatically. The spending dropped as a consequence, not as a cause, because the goal was never to spend less. The goal was to stop using spending as a substitute for something the job wasn't providing, and to start building a response that addressed the actual need. That shift in goal changes everything about how you approach the problem. You're not fighting your own spending behavior. You're understanding what your spending behavior is trying to solve and building a better solution to the same problem. This is the work that no budgeting app does. It's the work the Free Your Mind kit was built to support. The ebook maps the pattern precisely. The cost of stability calculator shows what it's costing you in numbers that are harder to ignore than an abstract sense of unease. And the audio series works at the level where knowledge alone doesn't reach, the identity layer, the place where your brain decides who you are before your conscious mind has time to intervene. $9. Lifetime access. Link in the description. Marcus still works in the same organization. What changed wasn't the job. What changed was the relationship between the job and everything else. The job became a base, not a ceiling, a platform for building something that exists independently of it. And from that position, the psychological dynamic of the environment didn't change, but his response to it did. The triggers still fire. The weeks that cost more than they pay still happen. But the spending mechanism no longer activates automatically, because the underlying need found a better outlet, not a perfect one, a better one. And better is what progress actually looks like. If what you heard here landed somewhere real, the Free Your Mind kit goes deeper. The link is in the description. And if you haven't done it yet, the first step is the bank statement. Last month, every unplanned purchase. And for each one, what was happening the week before. What you find is not judgment, it's information. And information, when taken seriously, changes the questions you ask. And the questions you ask change the decisions you make. And the decisions you make, compounded over time, change everything else. Comment the word free down here if this hits something real. The channel exists for exactly one reason: to build a different way of thinking. Not about money, about who you are in relation to it. Subscribe. This conversation continues.